Release the Kraken!
Cool. I'm ready.
For me money.
The Snyder cut. Get ready for the Snyder cut. Oh, hey guys, welcome back to the Drunken Ship Podcast, our weekly podcast.
It's been part of the show too. That Snyder cut bit he just did.
The Snyder cut. You gonna play him? Don't leave that in.
Don't leave that in.
No, don't.
Make that part of your soundboard, Crockett.
What is it? Episode 45. Episode 45, guys.
Yeah, it is episode 45.
We're 5 weeks out from 50 episodes, which is crazy. And we might even have we might even have a special episode after those 50 weeks. We'll see.
Hell yeah.
Guys, I'm your host, the one who is Manny, CyberCalamity. Alongside my co-host today is Bryan, a.k.a. Puerto Rican Reggie Watts. And then the prettiest Sony pony in the stable, hey Norman.
Hello, everyone.
That's a new one. Sony pony.
No, it's definitely because it's one, Tay loves PlayStation, and two, he likes being a pretty girl. So.
You said
what the fuck are you talking about, Crockett?
You're talking about this photos.
Tay has this obsession with like posting pictures of like thirst trapping people.
Look, if I'm
Tay's
cheap,
catfish.
just jealous.
And I'm tired of acting like he's not.
You joker.
He needs to come to grips with like what he is.
Yeah. Crockett, are you mad because you look at the pictures and you're like,
A little bit, yeah. 'Cause I'll be scrolling down. I'm like.
I think I'm an old roommate like that.
Wait a minute.
No.
Wait. Go back to his profile. Wait a minute.
I definitely have been caught off guard by Tay's like baddie pictures before.
The last one's actually pretty fantastic though. The lighting, because I use light and my iPhone camera.
The last shoot was actually really good.
Yeah, that face app is like incredibly good. It's like creepy how good.
I'm waiting for Tay to open up his Twitch and it's all gonna be nothing but like him as a girl.
My Twitch.
Dude, could make.
Yeah,
bank.
there was a I think Korean streamer did that for like
yeah.
And then like there was one time where the hardware stopped working and it was like this big dude, and then it was really nice though because everyone was super supportive even after it, but I'm sure there's a couple of the guys who were like, wait a minute.
Or that
was
Power
so
Ranger
funny.
meme in Japan where this Pink Ranger was like dancing and then he took the helmet off or something and it was like an old 40-year-old man. It's a pink Power Ranger. Remember that?
In like Mighty Morphin, I mean the Yellow Ranger is a man.
In the Japanese version, yeah. Found out when I got
But
older.
I mean in the American reshoots, they never reshot the scenes or whatever, so it's still a man. So
but she has the only one that doesn't wear a skirt.
Trinity is a Japanese man.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, they never. Yeah. In America, it's a female, so like, and they use like a male costume instead of a female. So she's the only one on the team that doesn't have like a skirt or something.
Well, they use Japanese original footage for all the fight scenes, so it was a male over there. So if you go back and look, and I did like this like a couple months ago, it is fully the broad shoulders is a man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Fun fact. What have you guys been up to?
Relaxing.
Relaxing after work.
How's the new mic going?
I listened to the audio earlier. It's pretty crisp.
Yeah, you sound crispy as fuck, too.
It does sound nice. I like how like you can't hear anything in your background anymore, though.
I can't. Maybe I'm going paranoid. You can hear it?
No, I couldn't. Dude, you were like talking to your parents through the door, and before I could hear you all the time. I could hear anything.
I forgot to mute.
And now you can't hear shit. Like, it's so...
It's such a delicate tap.
Yeah, I love it.
Is that a mute button?
Yeah, I'm so used to that's why I kept pushing it yesterday, because I'm so used to the Blue Yeti, but the mute button appears like
dude.
Like that.
Dude, that microphone looks nice.
Yeah, it does. I love this mic.
Really?
I'm on here.
I hate it. Smaller. I hate the way it looks.
Really?
It's just so compact.
I don't want no bulky.
It looks like a 1950s like Singer microphone.
Dude, you got like a fucking Foster can in front of your face with that microphone. Like.
It really is a Foster can. That's not beer. This is beer.
That was a horrible Australian accent.
I know. I've never tried to do a...
Never do that again.
Oi! I will stand by the statement. Australian people's accent is just like country English people.
They get offended by that. They get mad when you say that. There's a difference, apparently.
There's a significant difference, yeah.
No, it's country.
Oi, crocky!
Oi, crocky!
Hey, mate.
Bryan,
I'm not even gonna. No, I'm not even gonna.
Because you're an English speaker.
No, I just learned English from the British. I'm not English. I'm not offended.
No, that's English. Like that Austin Powers skit. It's like, no, we'll speak English. All right then.
Crockett, I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
You don't remember that sketch in Cold Member where they're like, oh, let's talk English, and then they just talk nonsense.
No.
It's like
With Michael Caine.
All right, I'll have to show you the clip after we're done with this.
Yeah, please do.
Anyway, let's talk about some gibberish. We're gonna be today. The topic is the Snyder Cut.
The Snyder Cut.
The Snyder Cut.
I love that we're making fun of like the Snyder Cut nerds.
What do you mean? I'm not making fun of anybody, man.
Making fun of. Shut up.
The Snyder Cut.
After 4 years,
I just like saying that. I don't want to beef with anybody.
When he said it, I caught on with it instantly. That's not
the Snyder Cut.
Can't do nothing. Man.
I love saying it like that. The Snyder Cut.
Well,
it's just kind of like emblematic of like, for 4 years on our Twitter feeds, we've had all those people going like, release a Snyder Cut for 4 years.
4 years.
And now that it's out, people are getting mad that we're talking about it.
Yeah.
You know what the wild thing is? I'm just blown away that it was real. Like, I thought it was fake. Yeah. I was like, bro, y'all just keep... I know Tay definitely thought it was fake.
Well, it wasn't.
Tay told him on
I'm still
Twitter forever, like, it's not
confused.
real. Stop asking for it.
I'm still confused. Though,
it wasn't real.
I think he had a vision for it, but he actually never made it. Right? Is that the story?
No. So what happened is that like Snyder had shot a good portion of the movie already. He shot like 85 to like 95% of the film already, and that's the 4-hour behemoth that we got. What happened was when Whedon was called in after the tragedy that happened with his family, Whedon scrapped a lot of the footage and then put some bridge footage that he shot, and you can clearly see the footage that Whedon shot in the theatrical cut versus anything that Snyder shot.
Yeah.
Bro,
but
it was
Whedon
jarring.
Oh, it's awful. Whedon cut the footage. He cut like 2.5 hours of Snyder's footage and then started adding new scenes to the film in a move that makes absolutely no sense. The first 20 minutes of the theatrical cut are all Whedon, and it completely changes the plot of Justice League. It completely changes every motivation after it.
Actually, Snyder's story was like a 5 movie series, apparently.
Yeah, and you can tell because it's 4 fucking hours long.
Supposed to be 5 movies, so he still had more to tell with his universe or whatever.
Yeah, and I want to say before we talk about any negatives or positive about the film, I think Snyder is a fantastic filmmaker. I have a lot of respect for Snyder as a filmmaker. His visuals are incredibly stunning.
They are.
The movie looks gorgeous, and the story for this Justice League makes so much more sense than the theatrical cut. It's an improvement in almost any way.
Yeah.
In almost every way, there is an improvement from the theatrical cut. Mm-hmm. However, as much as I like about the film, there is about as much that I dislike about the film. It is such an interesting, confusing collection of choices for like the kind of story that like superhero stories are. Like the type of stories that they are. It's a fascinating little film. Fascinating film. My first complaint is that it's 4 hours. It didn't need to be.
When it came out, which is like a week ago of today, I watched 2 hours, took like a good 3-hour nap, woke up and watched the other half or something.
Yeah, I watched it in like 3 1.5 sittings.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't sit through the whole thing like all at the same time.
I think I watched like half of it and then went to bed and then woke up.
See, this is the same thing.
Let's finish the behemoth.
Yeah.
So that being said, like Snyder is a filmmaker that I respect. He has a very strong vision, and starting from all the way from 300 to Watchmen, his movies have looked incredible. I very much like the fact that he's passionate about his vision. I just want to get that out because if anybody complains that I just hate Zack Snyder because he's Zack Snyder, so I'm going to lose my fucking mind. I like Zack Snyder.
I agree. I mean, like I love 300. I love 300. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a great film.
Yeah, and I agree with his visuals, but I don't. Yeah, okay, I guess. I partially agree with you. Yeah.
I just want to put that disclaimer out there because this is not just hate for the sake of Snyder.
Someone's watching this right now. And they're like, tread lightly.
Yeah. That's how it is with this freaking cult and this movie. His movies, like, tread lightly. Can say what you want.
Yeah.
Because people will attack you for some freaking reason. I don't know. But
don't disrespect the Snyder cut.
how are we doing this, Bryan? How are we going to do this?
So, yeah, I just want to know, I kind of want to know what you think first, and then I'm going to Crockett, and then I'll go last to talk about what we want.
I'm crying about the tombstone this fucking movie.
So, I don't love this movie, nor I don't hate this movie. I think it's okay.
Right.
It's way better than the one we got in 2017.
Yeah, I think it's 2017.
And I was telling Jordan earlier, I don't remember nothing from that movie. So that's probably why I'm praising this one more. Because I kind of blocked the last one out in my head. It's because I was more disappointed from Justice League simply because it's Justice League. How you mess up?
Right.
And, yeah. These like this.
It's like one of the coolest bunch
right.
of heroes and everything. It's like, it's hard. It's really hard to make that not a cool experience.
So I just basically rolled my eyes with the entire movie. Then I watched this, and I have like a thing for like shitting on Snyder stuff with DC comics. And,
Yeah.
I wanted to be fair, and so I watched the Snyder Cut, even though I was trashing it constantly. I wanted to have my fair opinion on it, and I watched it. It was okay. I actually like Steppenwolf in this.
He is a lot better.
Gave him some bit of character instead of just some gray giant man.
Yeah.
You feel for him.
Yeah. Darkseid has no reason to be in this movie.
No, he's just like the bootleg Thanos. He's like the Walmart brand Thanos in this.
Yeah, and freaking Darkseid came first, and the way he got defeated so early in this movie, like you mean tell me he's
really
the final
bummed out.
boss guy? He got beat by the gods. So yeah,
In what felt like a shot ripped off straight from Avengers.
What?
By the way, the axe that Darkseid got into the neck. That was like a shot-for-shot remake of the Thor putting the axe on Thanos.
It's something.
I think that shot was in the original film.
Maybe it's hard to tell at this point, but it was like shot-for-shot what happened with Thanos and Thor, except Darkseid got fucked up by it.
Ezra Miller sucks as Flash. I'm putting my foot on the ground with that. He is absolutely garbage as Flash. He is terrible as Barry Allen. I don't know what they were going for with that take. Terrible. Wonder Woman.
Why do you hate him? Why do you hate him?
He's nothing like Barry Allen to me. And he's so awkward in every scene he is. Like, what do you put? I know he's supposed to be the comedy relief, the bright character of the team, but it's so awkward. It felt fake. It didn't feel real. He's so awkward. Like, why are you acting like this? Does he have autism? That's a part of his character in this version?
So there is it's never confirmed. Of course, it's never going to be confirmed whether or not, but I feel like Ezra and a couple of like significant, like a significant portion of the fans believe that he is neurodivergent of some kind.
I thought he was. He's not.
Probably in the autism spectrum as the Flash. I think that's been a take on the character for a little while, ever since we saw him in the CW Flash.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's been a little take on him, but particularly Ezra Miller's Flash feels like an interpretation of that, but I don't want to give credit to the filmmakers for making that choice.
Yeah.
Because I think that's all Ezra's characterization of the Flash, and not necessarily
he's like his own
the writers, yeah.
He's his own Flash. Like I've never seen one like that before ever in a comic book. So there's that.
I kind of like this version of the Flash, but I don't like the fake awkward sort of like comedic relief bit, but I do like Ezra's portrayal of Barry Allen.
Just say he's hot. Just say it.
He is hot, but that's not it.
Just say you like him because he's hot, bro.
He was like 24 when he shot this footage, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. I don't think she should be Wonder Woman. But she's cool in this movie, though. She's Wonder Woman. Cyborg.
She's Wonder Woman.
Cyborg.
Ray Fisher.
Yeah, Ray Fisher. I've never been a Cyborg fan, but yeah, I understand why he's this way in this movie, so I can't really argue that.
Cyborg is arguably the best part of the film for
a
me.
lot of people say that. Yeah, he's way more fleshed out in the version.
Absolutely.
CG is
God,
garbage for
he
him.
fell to the wayside in the original. Like
His
you
CG is
barely
terrible
saw him.
in his face and all that, and the way he moves. Who was on Aquaman? Probably the character I genuinely like the most on the team. Aquaman of all
Really?
people. Yeah, he just Aquaman. Batman. So Batman is funny because I don't know where. See, there's a lot of take with this freaking cast of DC, these versions of DC characters, because it's like Batman. I have not connected with Batman since his first appearance. I don't know where they're going for it. I know they try to get inspired from the Dark Knight Returns comic, which is an interesting start because the age, more experienced Batman. He's tired of the world around him and all that. He's more brutal and all that. Nays he has light back in him, so he doesn't kill, I guess, or whatever. But it's just like this is I don't hate Ben Affleck's Batman, nor do I love him. It just he hasn't clicked with me yet. Still hasn't.
I think he's a fantastic Bruce Wayne.
You think so?
But a bad Batman.
He's a garbage Batman.
You know, like in terms of like how he acts, like my experience with Batman has always been this sort of like broody, sort of moody goth that has way too much money. And Ben Affleck plays him with like a little bit of comedic timing to his stuff. Like he's a little bit clever, he's a little quippy, and that feels dissonant to the identity of Batman.
To you, yeah.
To me, I feel like if Ben Affleck was Aquaman, I feel like that would be a lot better.
that would be weird.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. But if Ben Affleck was like an Aquaman character, if he was playing like an older Flash, someone that has the potential to be that quippy, in the tonality that Ben Affleck plays him, I feel like he would make a lot more sense. Yeah. But Ben Affleck as the Batman, he has a lot of like. There's a moment in the film where he's talking with Diana on the computer, and they like touch hands when they touch a mouse.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
They try to do that one thing where they're like both awkward about fucking touching each other's hands, and they're like the sexual tension that's in there. I feel like Batman would not do that. Batman would just be like, "Oh, sorry," and then just move on with the conversation. So it feels weird that they're putting that characterization on Batman.
Yeah.
But it's not. I just think it's like it's Ben Affleck's. That's where Ben Affleck shines. Ben Affleck shines in those little like interactions that are like between people, and it just doesn't particularly make a great Batman for me. But I do like the way he looks because he looks
cool. Yeah, he looks like and he looks like Bruce Wayne. Yeah, he looks like Bruce Wayne.
But just because you look like the character doesn't mean you're made to play the character. That's why fan casts don't work.
That's why I wish these comic book fans would stop doing that, man. I get so annoyed when they post these obscure comic no one read with somehow look like the actor and like, oh, he's perfect, but never seen the guy act. Like, it's a pet peeve.
I blame the Avengers for that.
You think so?
Yeah, because once the Avenger movies came out, the comics started adjusting the appearance of the characters to fit the movies.
Yeah, that's very annoying as well. But you already know my opinion on Henry Garfield's Superman.
Did you say Andrew Garfield?
Henry Cavill? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, I thought you said Andrew Garfield, and I was just like, that's a wrong guy.
There's one scene I love. It's probably my favorite scene in the movie when Soups get the black suit. That scene is awesome.
Is that when he's walking through the solitude, whatever?
Yeah, you see his suits, and you hear the quotes from Jor-El in his podcast.
Yeah.
And that's I remember I said to myself, Snyder got me here. That was a fantastic scene. That scene was awesome.
That was the bait that you needed.
Yeah, that was like that's it. He got me. But I don't. Despite there's been a great scene, I don't like that take of Superman at all. And I said my opinion 1 trillion times about him.
Right.
Not that I don't hate the actor or anything. I just think the writing and direction for that Superman is weird.
Well, it was set up to fail because Man vs. Superman was such like a nightmare of chaos and disaster that felt like so much not like a Superman.
And he's like a walking wood blank. This version of Superman. Why is he acting like that way?
He really has no personality in this version,
doesn't. He's super alien. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? But yeah, back to the overall film. Yeah, I thought it was.
Wait, you talking about the alien is acting alien?
Yeah, he's still alien to me. Superman's supposed to be the most human of all of us. He's just a guy, not just hi, hello.
Yeah, but I know what take you want out of him, which is that American hero take, which is definitely not what Zack Snyder is laying down. Zack Snyder's like putting that gruesome reality take to Which it's not even like a gruesome reality take. I would imagine he kind of gave everyone like here a Batman treatment.
Which that's the main problem. You don't do that with Superman. You don't. It doesn't work. No matter how many times people try to say that it doesn't work.
I totally agree.
I mean, it's nice. It's a refreshing to kind of see a different take than, because we've had how many Supermans prior that was that American hero.
Like
it's just a different take. That's all I'm saying.
See, pin that for later, because that's just something I had to talk about too. Not just Superman, but overall, the DCU universe. Mostly Zack Snyder's thing, the size of things. But yeah, like the film was okay. It was just a more fleshed out version from the one we saw in 2017. That's all. I'll be real with you, Bryan. That's all I have to say. I'm gonna be real, because it is. I mean, it was visually impressive,
right?
And
but you see, that's the most frustrating part about this entire movie for me. It's that after 4 years of this social phenomenon, following the toxicity of the fans, having to deal with people every couple of months taking the release the Snyder Cut hashtag and put it on trending on fucking Twitter, and then like always comparing Marvel movies with DC Comics and how like Zack Snyder's Justice League would be the beast. After 4 years of that, all of that happening, and then the movie comes out and it's just fine.
And that's the thing, though. I think it's fantastic to those people.
Yeah.
And they got what they want. Great. But it's like, I guess I go back to what Jordan said. It's like, for a while now, like, it's more to Superman, but I mean the overall universe itself. But, like, when people say, like, Henry Cavill Superman is the Superman, like, no, he's not. And that version is people think what Superman is. And that's a lot for all these characters. And
right.
And a comic book writer, Dan Slott, he writes Spider-Man, or used to. He made a tweet the other day, like, he kind of gave up, which I did too, gave up arguing against this, because it's like, this is just a different interpretation of these characters.
Right.
It's an Elseworld. But my kind of argument against that is these are mainstream interpretations of these characters. Everyone's watching this. So you got to even despite this mainstream, that Superman is wrong. You look at Captain America, he's different, but he has that spirit of Captain America from the comics. And I think the DCU fails with that. Like, they don't have that spirit of those original characters in their the movie versions. And that's my biggest criticism with the DCU. But after just giving up on that argument, I kind of realized it's just an Elseworld story. It's not for me. So,
right.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Crocker, what you got to say? I feel like I have way more to say about this movie than like anybody else.
It
feels weird because I was like so uninterested in the Snyder Cut, and then I watched it and I was just like, I was
just curious.
Yeah, I'm about like Tay. I'm not like, I don't read a lot of comics. I did have a lot of beef with the 2017 one because I could and I thought it was just me, but I could blankly tell that like this was shot as two films when I watched 2017 in theaters. Like, graciously, there was like color, like from color palette to tone of the movie to trailer. I'm like, God, that movie was a Frankenstein of a movie. It was so sewn together that just mismatched pieces. I was like, God. And it's kind of nice though to see like the Snyder Cut, to see like actually how it's meant to be, and it's way more fleshed out. And I gotta say, I mean, the story might not be like profound, and I do have a lot of beef with Aquaman throwing that fucking bottle in the ocean. It really irks me in a really bad way. Oh man, I take such a big issue with that. I'm like, why is he littering? King of the Sea litters into the
He's like half naked, like 75% of the movie.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, take his shirt off.
It was Jason Momoa. I mean, they didn't have him in like 2 years training to not have his shirt off.
That's true. My favorite part about Aquaman's, sorry to interrupt, but my favorite part about Aquaman's whole situation is that we start the movie with Batman trying to find him, and when he finally does, he has this weird cultish harem of women following behind them, and one of them like sniffs his fucking shirt as he jumps into the ocean.
Stupidest scene in the movie, dude. What was it's like a good minute of her singing. What's going on in here?
It was so confusing and like so weird.
So weird
that he spent a minute in a single shot because it went from a group of 2 women to a close up of this one woman sniffing his shirt while she's singing, all in one shot.
Like, what is this?
Tracking. He spent a minute and a half in that shot. What the fuck?
Could have been edited.
Yeah, they could have cut that shot down. And then he jumped into the ocean and swims away in fucking jeans.
It was so jarring to like, cause that scene to what he just did not make any sense at all. Like, it made 0 sense for them to be, cause we don't have any backstory on like why they treat him. I mean, like, yeah, like we in some little bit of dialogue they explained that like he brings, he watches over the town and stuff. But they're treating him as he is like Mothra or something. Like he is a god.
They treat him like he's a god that brings fish every year.
Yeah,
like,
and we hadn't seen anything him doing anything physical. We've only heard them talk about it. So it's I don't know. It's super weird that he would leave that in. I think they could have cut that.
Yeah, they absolutely could have cut that. Yeah. So what were you saying, Crockett?
I think the movie is overall. I mean, the story's okay.
Yeah.
It does make sense now. It's coherent. Fight scenes rule.
Yeah, the fight scenes are incredible.
I loved all the fight scenes. I was like, fucking Zack Snyder, the man, dude. Mr. Cool over here, fucking having Steppenwolf level all those Amazonians. I was like, hell yeah. And then the fight with like Darkseid. I was kind of bummed out. I wanted Darkseid to really like go in there and level everyone's shit out with them laser eyes, but I don't think he had them. And he kind of got whooped really quickly. Which is sucks.
But that was also a flashback sequence to like when Darkseid first took the Earth.
Yeah. Which I guess he gets Tay, do you know he gets the lasers after he finds the equation?
He already has it.
So why didn't he? Okay, then now that bums me out more because why the fuck did he not just?
No one knows. Even comic fans doesn't really know what the anti-life equation is. It's just this weird thing he always mentions.
Is that a new thing?
No, it's always been a thing. We just don't. It never been definitively explained what it is.
It just brings the apocalypse.
He can control all life. He can like control you and all that stuff. So, but we don't.
Weird.
It's just this weird concept DC really never explored heavily. You think they would do, but it's just never been prominent.
Just never there.
Yeah.
So he totally had them. He had that thing on him and didn't even use it when
and
he
it
came up on
Earth
site.
of all places, like of course. But go on.
But fight scenes, absolute A1. Loved them. I like how they kind of kept a little bit of comedy in it. I guess. I mean, just to have a little charm to
feel
all
natural.
the scenes. Can't be all depressing.
Right.
Which I felt like it didn't read so well. Way better than whatever Joss Whedon was trying to do is make it. Joss Whedon pretty much tried to make like Avengers like 2.0.
Yeah, Warner Brothers told him to do probably. Make Avengers.
Yeah, well, Warner Brothers, what I'm imagining happened is that Warner Brothers saw the 4-hour cut, and then they went, this looks nothing like Avengers.
He probably.
Yeah, like where's the corny jokes?
Yeah, we can't put a 4-hour movie in theaters and make money off of it. Like, we have to fucking trim this down, and we have to add some jokes. And that's when Joss Whedon came in and, like, did his thing.
Like, I would like... All right, if you've seen the 4-hour Schneider cut, I would like you to watch that movie and then immediately go watch the trailer for 2017. It is literally 9 day.
That's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did. I watched the trailer for the Snyder cut, and then I watched the Snyder cut, and then I went back and I watched the theatrical cut trailer. It is a different universe. Like
really?
In terms of movie.
Is that different?
It is that jarring. Snyder has a lot of drama in his lighting, has a lot of very dramatic, slow conversations. Whedon bumped up the saturation, or when Whedon was in charge, they jumped up the saturation, and then they put very flatly lit scenes that look like they belong in the set of Avengers, rather than like the super low-key, dramatic look that Snyder has throughout the entirety of the film.
Yeah.
The difference is night and day, and you can tell in the dialogue. There is a line in the theatrical cut that really bothers me.
Is this something with Aquaman?
No, it's Batman talking to Diana. They're in a park. First of all, they're in a park. In the theatrical cut,
It's like we're some type of Suicide Squad. It's like we're some type of Justice League.
And Diana is talking to Bruce, and she's just explained this whole bit about the Age of Heroes, which in the Snyder Cut was like a legitimate 15-minute endeavor. But in the theatrical cut, it's a conversation in the park. And then Diana says, looks like everything relies upon the tribe of men. And Batman says, I don't know if we can depend on men. They tend to act like the doomsday clock has a snooze button.
What?
Excuse me?
Who says?
It's such a bizarre sort of like quippy one-liner that belongs nowhere in the tonality of like this movie.
Dude,
not even that.
There was
Who
a writer
says
in the
that?
writer's room, and he went,
Yeah.
he was like, nailed it. He wrote that line and went,
And I was watching I watched the Justice League cut, and I watched Red Letter Media's review of the Snyder cut, and they were talking about it, and they pointed out a lot of the differences and a lot of the weird lines that Whedon added to the film, that completely and irreparably changed the tone of the movie. They are two different movies, not just in versions, but like in style, in comedy, in delivery.
They're clashing with each other. Yeah,
they are complete opposites of each other.
yeah. 2017 was an absolute mess.
Mm-hmm.
The way I don't like. I get like they were trying to cash in on some of that Avenger money, but if the 95% of that movie was done, and you're completely the opposite almost of like the direction of like what you were gonna go. You cannot like just add random blocks into a straight line because they're going to be different colors.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of factors though. Like if they want to, and I hate bringing this up because it's like Marvel's the only one that can do it, but it's not the case. It's just how Marvel did it. It worked. It's just like we have these separate films, introduce these characters and tell their story.
Because what Marvel was doing had been in the the workshop for like
they had
years,
a plan. They had a
2 years.
plan since 2007 or 8. They had a legit
template
plan.
to follow
Yeah.
all of this. You can't just cherry pick into a major movie like this and give it a treatment.
I mean, even Godzilla's doing better than DCEU at handling the universe. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
DC of all characters too. Like,
What do you said on the Dark Universe? Dark Universe didn't even make it through.
Oh, the Monster Universe?
It had
Yeah,
a
I was
little-
really pulling too. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit. We
had a
gotta get
little
some.
set photo of all of the cast members.
I'm
Didn't go
really
anywhere.
bummed we never got a Creature from the Black Lagoon update movie. I would have
Yeah.
been
That
a
would've been
dog
good.
to a bone to that. I'd be like,
Invisible Man is a fantastic movie, by the way. Like the first Gerard Butler movie was bad, or Russell Crowe movie was bad. The one that had Jekyll and Hyde.
Mummy.
What,
The Mummy.
Invisible?
The Mummy remake was mad. The Invisible one, The Invisible Man with Elizabeth Moss, is phenomenal.
I wish Dracula was
John
part of the
Crow.
universe, because Dracula was awesome too. I love
Yeah.
that movie. But
I would have loved to see that cinematic universe. That would have been great.
how would that work?
But yeah.
so close to getting
Sorry.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
They dropped it. They dropped the ball on us.
All right, back on topic. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's anything else you got to say about Justice League, Crockett?
It was okay. I mean, it was. I finished the movie and I'm like, all right, well, it didn't blow my mind. It was really long, but I mean, I feel it did leave me I want to see what he would done next. So
Right.
I do want to see, like,
I can tell you what happened.
I do
next.
want to see the sequel to this film.
Uh,
I know that. So
I think it's done.
Restore the Snyder Wars.
Apparently, Bruce. I mean, the Flash
Snyderverse.
scene where he goes back in time to tell Bruce whatever, all that mess.
Yeah.
So the reason, they kind of do like an injustice kind of storyline when Superman goes evil because Lois dies because Darkseid kills her.
Yeah, doesn't
so-
Batman have like an affair with Lois?
Yeah,
Or like a
and-
relationship with Lois, and then Batman
Yeah.
gets all pissy. Superman gets all pissy about it.
And since Lois is pregnant, and they name the child Bruce because Batman has to go back in time to. That's why Lois is the key. Because Superman thinks Batman could have helped or something for Lois
Gotcha.
dying or whatever. So there's a big issue with that. And Batman supposed to go back in time, sacrifice himself, and prevent the creation of Nightmare Universe or whatever they're doing with that.
That's crazy. I did read that Snyder had like a 4 hour, like a 4 movie or 5 movie treatment plan
5 movie
for
treatment.
after Justice League.
Yeah.
And like,
How would he would have made that into 5 movies?
He had a story. He had a plan. Like
he had a plan. Yeah. And like that's something that I admire about like Snyder. Like he had a very uncompromised vision of what he wanted to do with the films, and I like respect that about him, and I respect that like Warner Brothers like let him go all out with that.
Yeah, that's one thing I can say too. That's why I appreciate this thing to the most. They let him tell his story in some form.
Yeah,
so it's nice,
and it's very cool. I watched the movie and I was annoyed at so many of the like the weird technical choices. I like the movie. I think the movie's fine. Yeah. I think the movie is heaps better than the theatrical cut. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it looks better. It sounds better, and it is overall an absolute improvement over the theatrical cut of the film.
Here.
However, what'd you say?
I said here.
Here. However, got a couple of weird choices that happen. The aspect ratio feels off to me. I don't. I looked it up.
Can we get into that? Wait, yeah.
Yeah.
The 4.3, and I'm like,
it didn't bother me, but it's a weird choice.
Yeah. It didn't bother me in terms of aesthetic because there's plenty of movies that use the 4:3 aspect ratio. I mean, you got Ghost Story, you got First Reformed, you got The Lighthouse. Like those type of movies have been coming out recently, and they can look very good. And it didn't look bad in the Snyder cut, but I'm annoyed because it was apparently chosen the aspect ratio. It's a 1. IMAX theaters are 1.43 by 1. That's the aspect ratio, which is almost a square. 4:3 is a square. So I can see where like if the original film was shot in 1.43 by 1 to accommodate for an IMAX screening, and you would see everything up in the screen, that would be accurate. Like that's a good aspect ratio to choose for that format. 4:3 is not that far off. It doesn't look that much different, but the movie, I can tell that the movie was not shot in a 4:3 composition. It was not shot in a square format. It was shot, or it feels, or it looks like it was shot in CinemaScope, which is a 2.35 aspect ratio, 2.35 to 1 aspect ratio. And that's what we're used to see in the wider cuts. That's what we see in the theatrical cut of the film. So when I see shots that are in the Whedon cut of the movie, in the Snyder cut, and they're 4:3, I just don't buy the fact that the shots were composed for a square format, because the characters are in the edge of the screen, talking like that. Like sometimes like their shoulders get cut off.
Cropped off.
There is a tremendous amount of headroom between each character, which would make sense if you're shooting for an IMAX movie, because you just see more top and bottom of the frame.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, right?
Yeah. And it's like that will happen in a movie, but it felt like there was such an enormous amount of it that they didn't reframe particularly well for the aspect ratio. So we get scenes for a lot of the movie for the characters. The shot starts over here, and then the shot ends like over here, like super over here. The head is like, you got like 6 inches of head space in the shot, and I don't buy that was the composition that they meant to put. I don't buy it, because you would only have that much headspace if you intended to crop it down to a 2.35 aspect ratio, because you lose the top of your composition. So when I see that, and it's, they say that it's like it's meant to do the 4:3 aspect ratio to respect Snyder's vision. The only thing that I can think of is that the 4:3 aspect ratio was chosen on your TV because it differentiates it against the theatrical cut super easily. And it bothers me that the claim was that it was shot for IMAX, and therefore we have to deal with a 4:3 aspect ratio. Because you know who shoots for IMAX? Christopher Nolan, Tarantino. You know whose movies are 16:9? Christopher Nolan's and Tarantino's. Or they're 2.35. They're CinemaScope movies. So the aspect ratio thing, I don't buy it. I think it's annoying, not because it looks bad, but because the compositions are clearly not meant for a 4:3 aspect ratio. Particularly in the scenes, I noticed that in the scene when Barry Allen is talking to Henry Allen, Barry Allen's like entire elbow is off the frame. Just completely off the frame. And it's like, and you see like this much, like fucking this much room of the empty jail cell behind them, and it's just like, why is
Wasn't
that
it like
the
an
composition
angle, though?
choice?
It's like an angle to it. No.
It's shot pretty eye level to Ezra. It's shot pretty eye level to Ezra because it's a classic like over the shoulder scene.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Henry on one side, Barry on one side, and the cameras are diagonal to each other.
Yeah.
Or sort of like angled like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pretty classic over the shoulder scene, and there's no need for the 6 inches of headroom that are happening between each of the characters. There's no character information. There's nothing interesting to look at in the background. Behind Ezra Miller, there's a cop and a gray wall.
Yeah,
you know, like
right.
it's just.
That's true.
So I don't buy that the aspect ratio was to respect Snyder's vision. I feel like it was added as a method to differentiate the two films. And that may be wrong. That may be a wrong assumption. I'm of course not in Snyder's head. The compositions just don't feel right. There's action happening outside of the frame that I feel like I should be seeing inside of the frame. In the fight scenes even, you know?
Yeah.
Like I see feet getting cut off. I see like gunshots hitting walls that are out of the frame. I see Batman jumping in the air and there's like 3 feet of headroom in front of him. It's like the singles, like the over the shoulder shots where people are standing in front of each other. Like normally an over the shoulder shot, you can just see like this bit, and then you see the entire like wingspan of the other person, like the chest and the face. You just see like 3/4 of the body.
So what
just
do you
bothers
think?
me.
Why do you think that they did that?
He made a great
Why
point.
do you think that
Just
they
different.
said like 4.3 when it could have been something different? You think it's like pure laziness, or just like they just didn't want to go back and try to reframe everything?
No, I think that if I was Snyder and I wanted to differentiate my cut from the theatrical cut in a very obvious way, I would have changed the aspect ratio too. Because you look at it and you immediately know that it's Snyder's cut. Versus the theatrical cut.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's not a bad choice. It really is not a bad choice. I just don't think that the compositions were thought to be in a 4:3 aspect ratio, and then they were forcing a lot of those compositions to be in that aspect ratio, and it made it look a little bit disjointed.
It's like you're watching an Instagram movie.
Yeah, and it's like
you watch the movie completely in vertical.
You know, there's a movie come out like that.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That might be the downfall of society.
The aspect ratio thing is a little weird. I like it. It looks good. I feel like the visuals for the Snyder cut are absolutely stunning. The lighting that Snyder, I keep calling him Schneider because of you, Crockett.
Schneider. The Schneider cut.
The lighting in the Snyder cut is phenomenal. The dialogue scenes look good. Everything looks really good. The color grading is fantastic. It just looks very good. The story, and this is where I get mad at the 4-hour bullshit. You have 3 movies inside this movie. You have the Aquaman movie, you have the Flash movie, and then you have the Justice League movie.
And it just let the Flash movie go with the Iris bit. You just see that one moment and never brought up again, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, never brought up again. She's never there. But in tonality, like the movie changes tone 3 times for me. When Bruce is trying to find Aquaman, that felt like the introduction to the Aquaman movie. That felt like something that should have happened in its own film. And then we should have just known who Aquaman was and then have him in this movie. And then instead we get like 45 minutes to 50 minutes of Bruce trying to find Aquaman, trying to convince him. For some reason, Aquaman saying no, and then showing up at the last minute in like another fight scene later after like an hour of Bruce trying to convince him in 2 separate occasions. It feels weird.
He said no because Superman dying and Bruce was there. Like that probably happened to me too.
Yeah. And so like I understand the motivation. I just felt like we didn't need 2 separate conversations because he had 2 separate conversations with, or maybe it wasn't 2 separate conversations. I think Bruce found them, and then we get a flashback of Aquaman saving the drowned man, or we get like another sequence where he's in that bar where he rescues the guy that was drowning.
Yeah.
And like takes the whiskey bottle away from him. But between those 2 sequences, there's like 20 minutes of Batman. So it's just structured really confusedly.
It's the Snyder cut.
it's we start with Aquaman. It's like we start with Batman. We start with Aquaman. We go through 20 minutes of Batman. Then we go back to Aquaman. Then we go to like 15 more minutes of Batman. And then we go through like 50 minutes of Ezra Miller. And then we go back to Batman. And then like Justice League actually starts around the halfway mark. And we get like an hour and a half of just like
it takes its
general.
time to, yeah.
What'd you say?
It takes its time to get to the point where like they all team up and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well.
And so like they don't really do anything together until like maybe 2.5 hours into the movie.
Yeah.
And at that point I feel like I've already watched an Aquaman movie and a Flash movie, and it would have been better to get an Aquaman movie and an Ezra Miller Flash movie. And then just start the Justice League Snyder cut where it started.
If he was planning to do like 5 films out of this, he could have just led this entire first movie just being like them all teaming up together, them forming the Justice League.
And who would they fight then? Who would be the final boss? Because they had to revive Superman at one point.
I mean, they would just jump cut it into like them fighting Steppenwolf.
So
I mean, they would have done the Avengers treatment where the big baddie is Steppenwolf, and then as the portal for Darkseid closes, they all have like to stare off with Darkseid, and then they know that Darkseid is the bigger threat. Yeah, we would get like a post credit scene, and Darkseid would be, we're going back into the old ways, whatever.
They could have done it with, Darkseid had 2 other goons that they could have did 2 more movies out of that, and then do the Darkseid. There's a straight up Darkseid movie. If they wanted that.
Mm-hmm. We had the Sod and the other person, and it's like they're not bad choices. It's structurally like if you were to make a 4-hour movie, I think he did really well in taking his time to introduce Aquaman and to introduce the Flash. I'm just complaining about the way that they intercut it. They cut it in such a way that felt confusing. And the beginning of the movie, we spent like 20 minutes looking at the aftermath of Batman versus Superman, I think. Like into the death of Superman. Mm-hmm. And we see the same monument that Lois visits every day where like Batman died, I guess, or Superman died, I guess. And all of that. And then we immediately cut to Batman finding Aquaman. And it all just felt very disjointed. I was confused as to what happened and when it happened.
Me too. I was like, did the statue get destroyed in BVS or Justice League? I couldn't remember myself either.
Yeah, neither could I. And like I thought that I was being shown, evidently we're being shown the aftermath of BVS. Yeah. But I thought that was the aftermath of the resurrection fight of Superman.
Me too. Yeah, exactly. I thought it was too.
And so it was really confusing timeline because they cut it in such a way that implied that was the present.
Yeah.
And or implied that it was it was weird, or like a flash forward. It just, the time got so disorienting for me the first 2 hours and a half of the movie.
I think that is from BVS because
it wouldn't get destroyed.
I mean, this movie's meant to be played after BVS, so that's probably why you wouldn't need to know that.
And sorry, go ahead.
I feel like that's probably why they didn't have any reference to why that statue is, and
Yeah, but I didn't need the reference for it because I figured out that at some point that the resurrection fight scene hadn't happened yet, and we were into the BVS. We were straight out of the BVS timeline, but the way that it was presented to the viewer felt like the damage from the iconic fight scene that we had seen from BVS from the last Justice League was what they were showing now, because the ground looked like Superman had destroyed it in the same way that he destroys it when he resurrects.
Yeah.
And it was just like the presentation of the scene was confusing, even though that at some point I figured it out. The editing of the chronology of the film was ambiguous for like the first 2 hours.
Yeah, I agree with that. That confused me too, because I couldn't remember like when did that happen in BVS. I don't remember the statue getting destroyed or whatever. And it does look the same as how when Super gets erected. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I had the same issue as well.
Once you figure that out, because once a movie gets to that 2 hour point, you really are in the same like timeline. Like everything flows pretty linearly, and that's like the best point of the movie for me. When once the Flash and Aquaman and everybody's together, that feels like a solid like hour and a half of movie. Like that could have been its own Justice League movie. Yeah. Everything previous to that felt too inflated, and it felt a little too confusing and just sort of like ambiguously glamorous for no particular reason.
You think because it's like that because we don't know these characters and they didn't give them a film prior.
Right.
We had to do that.
Yeah, the only one that and you can tell that that's a problem because the only one that I really sort of understand is Diana and Bruce.
Yeah.
Those are like the only two characters that I can kind of understand like what their situation is, and then potentially the Flash because he was introduced in this film. But Aquaman feels like an add-on, you know, and Aquaman feels like they threw him in there because they needed to put Jason Momoa in the script.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I can see that. Like
And
he
so-
doesn't bring too much to the table. Maybe
Well,
like the tough guy.
Pet peeves about this movie: secret identities don't mean jack in this universe.
they really don't.
And when Bruce was talking to Arthur, Aquaman was just like, "Hey, Bruce Wayne, right in front of these people,
Yeah.
one of the world richest guys." Or when Clark comes back to life and there's police and soldiers right there. Clark,
Yeah.
this guy's name's Clark.
Well, they knew Superman because he had died, and
Yeah.
so that was his like tombstone.
We should call him
Said Clark
Clark.
Kent.
You
Yeah.
noticed that we sorry to hit. I hate to interrupt, but you noticed that we didn't even bring up Cyborg.
Well, I haven't yet because I think Cyborg is the best part of the film.
Oh, okay.
Cyborg is fantastic. He was the biggest casualty of the theatrical cut. Because in the theatrical cut, he has absolutely nothing to do.
Token black guy.
Yeah, token black guy in the theatrical cut. He's just general black guy. And I think Ray Fisher does such a good job at playing this kind of like broken machine man hybrid. I know that Cyborg is traditionally like a goofy character.
No, I'm just thinking constantly, like, you believe me, this is a college student.
Oh, yeah.
Is he in
I don't
college? I thought
Yeah.
he was trying to. I thought it was like they were trying to say he was in high school, and I'm like, this dude does not read off as a high school student.
See him crying by the cry in the car before he got an accident was funny to me. Like, this grown man crying like that in the car. Like,
I thought
That's a boy, man, and just a man's body.
I thought that scene was actually really sweet.
Yeah.
I really like Cyborg. I think he's the best part of the film, and in this movie he got a really good treatment. I would have loved to see an individual Cyborg movie,
Still no interest. That's just me, though. But I understand
Yeah.
why you say that, though.
but I would have loved to see it. I think Ray Fisher would have done really well, and it would have been interesting to see him adjust to being Cyborg. You know, like that's a big adjustment. It's an identity crisis. It would have been interesting to see.
That's a story, yeah.
If they
Cyborg's
make a
one of-
Cyborg movie and he doesn't say "booyah," I don't want it.
Cyborg is one of those characters that he has to be part of the team because he can't hold on his own together.
Yeah,
But
he's like a Black Panther. You know, like it's really hard to
Yeah.
make him
yeah,
stand
exactly.
out.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Yeah.
a one-note character. He just kind of
He's
sits
meant to be
there.
part of that
then
team.
he's
Yeah.
like I'm like let me. He's like I can hacker noise.
But we got a lot of good scenes with Cyborg, and I really liked his character, and it felt closer to the character that they were trying to portray in this version than in the theatrical cut. In this version, at the end, he felt a little too jokey with Superman. You know, when Superman goes like, "Is there any blowback?" and Cyborg goes, "Yeah," and Superman goes like, "Well, I don't want to die. I like being alive."
Talking about the
Like-
Whedon cut.
Yeah, the
Then he
Whedon cut.
mentioned
The second.
some feet joke or whatever. Like, feel
Yeah,
my
it's like
toes.
I
don't have
my toes hurt, and it's like I don't even understand the physics of that, and it's just like you've been the broody sort of like hurt character the whole movie. You can't suddenly be laughing and like joking like that.
I do miss when Superman
felt out
first
of place.
comes back. And
I
he
don't know,
mentions
man.
the
Like
Justice
your
Clique.
darkest friends have some of the best bangers. I'm just saying.
Guess what to say, Jordan?
I've had a triple pass. That's
Jordan's
why I'm
like, this
so
is me when he watched Cyborg on
unhinged.
screen. This is me.
This is me. This is me where I break down on the podcast.
Yeah. The climax scene, the last fight, incredible. It looked fantastic. The set piece looked great. Every one of them working together. There's like a really fun shot of like Bruce driving in the car and then an Aquaman jumping and Wonder Woman like right next to him, and everybody's like flying together to like charge into
It
Steppenwolf.
looked bad there.
It looked like a raid happening. It was
yeah.
pretty sweet.
It
Come on,
looked
they all
looked
come
really
together.
CGI.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
when
was
they're all
really
like jumping
CGI.
in, it looked
Yeah.
super CGI and weird, but it was such a fun shot.
It's a moment. Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
that.
And I want more of that. I want more of those shots
the
in
scene where,
something like this.
where Barry reverses time was cool.
Mhm. That is
sa-
really cool.
I need to find that
Yeah.
soundtrack. The soundtrack was awesome when he did that. Listen
Yeah.
to that again. But I hate how he runs and stuff is so stupid.
I love it. I love it. I really do love
I
how he
don't
runs.
think I don't think I had a problem with him running, but like I think either they added the scene or it's from 2017, but you can tell that they use the model because it's so exaggerated.
Yeah, it's very floppy.
It's a really, really long
floppy.
crane shot of him running. And it's definitely a model, like a 3D model. And the running's like this. And I'm assuming they did that so you could probably read it from being so far away, but it looks so stupid. Hated it. And, I mean, that's from like a modeler standpoint. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
The reuse assets from the previous film.
I don't know. I mean, they probably were like, "Hey, we just need a low poly. We could pay you like $30 for it."
That entire third act was different. That was a different movie.
Yeah, no, absolutely a different movie.
Christ, it was so different.
Did he cash out for this? Did he get paid for this?
Snyder, no.
Oh, Snyder didn't?
No, Snyder didn't. He took no money. He apparently took no money from the cut. He just wanted to see it done.
He just wanted to ball out. I get it.
Yeah, he loved his fans. He also passionate. Yeah.
Snyder was like
the nightmare scene. Honestly, it was completely unnecessary. That entire bit towards the end was stupid.
The whole epilogue was ridiculous.
And Bryan, I can't. Did I tweet it out to you guys? No. The moment I mentioned to you on Discord is like when Batman he threatens Joker, he's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you, dude."
Yeah.
I laughed so hard. Had to pause the movie. That this is one of the worst things I've ever seen in movies. I'm not even exaggerating. It was so bad. Like a 12-year-old.
Make no mistake, I will fucking kill you.
A Batman of all characters.
Yeah. Well, was that an alternate? That was an alternate timeline, right?
I get that, but it's like, who wrote this?
It's weird. I don't like it.
Someone thought this was super good, and they kept that.
Hey, here's the writer's room.
It's so bad. That entire segment was stupid. Mara somehow has a British accent. I don't know why she has a British accent all of a sudden.
She's a fish, right? Why does she have a British accent?
She doesn't have a British accent in like the earlier the movie or Aquaman. She has a British accent here.
She doesn't have a British accent in the rest of the movie?
No, just
I could have sworn she did.
Or Aquaman, she didn't have a British accent, if I don't remember.
Oh, I want to
remember. Yeah,
I want to see that now because that would be hilarious.
Aquaman and Aquaman, Shazam, or Wonder Woman 84, they're not canon to this.
They're not canon to this universe?
No, Snyder said that. He already said that like last week.
But the first Wonder Woman is?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
because he
weird.
worked on that movie too a little bit. But
he's already.
It's not part of the DC Snyder's canon or whatever.
This is also part of the reason why I don't like the DC universe. There's too much differentiation between what's canon and what's not.
You know why? It's because there's no ground law. There's no
foundation.
Groundwork. Yeah, they're building a house on a crooked hill.
They don't Elseworld store. They do separate storage, which I respect. Cause they don't have to be a current universe like Marvel. Do your own little projects.
Yeah.
It can be confusing for some people. Like we got like 3 Batmans now.
Yeah, like concurrently happening at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for a lot of those Batmans, but I feel like they should just treat them as like standalone projects.
Yeah, I think that's what they're trying to do.
You get the best. I mean, one-shot films are amazing. I mean, you get like really like you get to start it and wrap it up at the end. We're just in a weird age of like
universes.
No, you got to make a fucking cinematic universe out of this.
Not only that, because it makes so much money. They know they can if they make a Joker 2, I don't think no one wants that.
Printing money.
Yeah.
They'll print money.
But what you gonna do?
That's when they introduced Batman and they started their own cinematic universe after that. You know, it's like another version of Batman played by like fucking
Robert Pattinson.
I
can't wait to see his Bruce Wayne Batman.
I can't wait to see that.
I know it's gonna
that
be
would have been. I mean, in that world though, that would actually make sense. I mean, but they haven't confirmed that Robert Pattinson will be in the Joker, right?
No, it's not. That's his own universe as well too. Until it makes a lot of money, which it will, then it's gonna be his own universe.
Which makes me think, when's Venom 2 gonna be releasing?
Stop mentioning that movie. No one remembers that movie. Leave it alone.
Everyone forgot. I know. It's like no. Let's. We can't hammer on DC all day. We gotta hammer on some Marvel shit. What's Venom 2 looking like?
I'm tired.
Do the voice.
Oh, there's gonna be some.
Do the voice. Do the Venom voice.
What?
Do the Venom voice.
Venom 2.
Venom 2.
Venom 2.
We are Venom
2. Oh, you meant Tay do the Venom voice.
I don't know why I get such a kick out of that.
Barry. Wait, what's the guy's
yeah.
name?
Tom Brady.
Eddie Brock.
Eddie.
Eddie.
Let's see his foot, Eddie.
To kind of wrap up my thoughts on the Snyder Cut, I think that it is such a good potential film that is overinflated by 2.5 hours of extra shit that should have been separate movies. That's like kind of where I stand on it as like a film. It's like,
you know why it's so inflated?
Mm-hmm.
It's because of all of the Wonder Woman music in it.
Dude, we didn't mention that the slow-mo scenes is ridiculous in this movie. It's too many of them.
There's so many of them.
Like,
Some of them
Jesus
for no real
Christ.
reason. The only slow motion scene that I really, really liked, or there's two of them, is that car shot that I was talking about, and then Ezra Miller's whole bit as the Flash when he rescued Iris.
Yeah, that was cool. Well, I mean, like almost like Wonder Woman's.
Nah, that scene was stupid as
Yeah.
fuck. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be a real ass with y'all. That scene was so stupid, made no sense. Why? Like,
could have got the door.
you know what? I think I realized that I hated that scene so much now that I'm just sitting here talking with you guys.
Yeah.
But I really did not like that scene.
Why not?
It was so long. It was
But-
ungraciously long for no
Egregiously.
reason. She is sitting in the car. The truck is taking forever. You can tell, like, it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And there's so much this long build up.
She's looking
on
at
this
him
stupid-
for like the past 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they keep.
Yeah.
What the hell was going on with that anyway? Like, why was they staring at? They were eye fucking each other from across the street. It's
Well,
like
they
looking
wanted
through
you.
the
They wanted
window.
you to know for sure that I was like Iris. that
I
it
was.
like-
They could have do a glance, and I would have been like, "Yeah, all right, I get it." No, they were like, Ezra Miller was like taking his shirt off, like, "Ah!" Like, hated it. And then she pulls out, and then the truck just smacks her, and then it's like, Ezra Miller's character is like, "Oh, well, do I save her? Do I like sit here and do this dumb dog interview that I'm trying to do?"
But I like that scene because it shows how fast the Flash processes information and like how much time he has to think when he's like actually running. Like
Yes,
that was
like
an
that.
incredibly great setup for his powers.
In perspective.
So, like,
of
if you-
time.
Yeah, if you have no idea who the Flash is, that scene does a fantastic job in making you understand what he is.
Yeah.
Which is why I love it. It is a little long-winded before the slow motion. I totally agree. But
I think-
you get it
I think they could have just executed it a little bit better.
a little bit quicker, yeah.
Yeah.
I do like that the Flash sort of grabs the hot dog and we have like a little bit shine of his personality, but that doesn't feel out of place in the universe because that's like what that character is. But every time you insert Ezra Miller into another conversation with like Batman or Aquaman, it feels out of place because they're so disjointedly broody and angry in comparison to the Flash. And so,
Yeah.
like, I really, that's just what feels wrong about them. The movie feels disconnected because the characters don't feel like they inhabit the same world.
You know who would have been a good comic relief for that kind of theme? It's not Ezra Miller.
Miller?
I cannot say his name properly. Is just Jason Momoa's Aquaman. I feel like he brought enough comical relief through that film with his character, because his character is broody, but he can have fun.
He
And I
is,
feel
he
like
is a little
that-
bit of a smartass.
Yeah, and I feel like that could be the comedy in this serious movie is him being a smartass.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Flash, he was just way too that was his entire character, was to be funny.
It was too much. It was too much.
And when he was serious, it was a little bit off-putting in a way. Like
Yeah.
I felt like, oh, that's not really him, for him to have like a serious moment. But even when he was having a serious moment, it felt like he was still kind of playing that through a window. Like
Right.
you could still see through the seriousness, and that it's like it's him still joking, which I guess that's just maybe an actor's choice on
Yeah.
how he wanted to do it or whatever. But
Surprisingly enough, I really like Ezra as the Flash. I like all the actors. I just wish I had more time to introduce the characters outside of the Justice League movie.
yeah, I know they didn't want to copy Marvel
Yeah.
shot for shot, but they really should have had some like individual movie build up before they did Justice League.
You
Let
gotta give a
everyone
reason
get
for people to
fleshed
care
out,
about
and
them.
then-
And
What
you got to give a reason for people to care about these characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
But my wrap it up. Like, my opinion on this movie, it's an okay movie.
Right.
But the thing is, I just came to the conclusion, just not for me. So those fans who watch, like, love this universe, they got what they want. Can't complain.
And that is exactly how I feel about it. I feel like for me, it's a little too much and a little too over-directed. But if you're a fan and that you wanted this cut, you got exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
And you loved it. And I'm so glad that was the case.
Yeah. And less noise now. So that's a plus.
The noise will never stop. The noise will never stop.
What do you like? What's the overall impression of the film?
It was okay. I don't have any connections hard to the comics, so I'm not egregiously offended by different takes on films. I don't have in my head like so if I saw like something that I grew up with, like let's say Godzilla, and they just made an asshole of Godzilla in a film, I'd be like, that's not fucking Godzilla. That's not 98. Like my Godzilla and shit. So I would have some serious offense if they really messed that character up, or they did a weird take on him, which I get. That's why some people probably don't like Shin Godzilla. So like, with like, I get like Tay doesn't like this Superman because that's not really Superman's essence. That's not Superman's character. Superman is this corny American hero or
not
shit.
Corny.
He's corny, bro.
He's not corny. We're not having an argument.
It's the same thing with like Captain America. Corny, bro. It's like corny. Propaganda corny. And then this is like, here comes the director and he puts a blanket of his personality and his take on these characters. I get it. You don't want this pussy of superheroes anymore. You want a dark grittiness to it, because that's what. And I mean, that is, but that isn't the climate that we're in. It makes sense, markable, why this film is, because people love villains. People love dark, hardcore shit. They want to see a rated R superhero movie because they never got that. So it makes so much sense why people love this film, and that's cool, and I understand that, and I can enjoy it for what it is. It's I love seeing them take a realistic approach to like this world and how it operates, like the gore to it. I like Zack Snyder's like overall like color schemes. I like the darkness to it. It really adds to the mood. It's not too dark though. It's not like a horror film. It's just enough where it is a kind of like, and what I was saying earlier is like it's like a Batman comic. It's just like this overall like dark character and these, but it's comic booky in a sense. It's not like too realistic where it's, because there are fighting giant like they're swatting flies constantly that are aliens. So I think it's good. I think cool. I would like to see a sequel to it just because I want to see some more shit from him. Comic book wise, I mean, I can understand. So I mean, it's I'm an average consumer to this, so my opinion doesn't really. My honest opinion does not matter to like the majority.
Mine's not either, because I sound biased, but I promise you, you're not. It's just not for me.
And I sound pretentious and annoying when I talk about it.
Yeah. This is a good podcast because you're getting a little bit of both. You're getting a little bit of everything. You get a film sense, a comic book sense, and then an average viewer sense.
Yeah.
What you said about the I would argue against you getting to that completely, but I won't because of the video about how we need dark, gritty heroes. Like, what the heck?
I'm not saying that we need dark, gritty heroes. I'm just saying that's probably what people want.
No, we're past that point. It's not 2009 no more, or 8, whatever.
Dude, this movie would have ruled if it came out in 2006. Hell yeah, bro.
If it came out before Sucker Punch, it would have had a heavy metal soundtrack, and it would have fucking made so much money.
Dude, he should have did non-stop heavy metal in this movie. He should have got some Chelsea Grin in there, some fucking Bring Me the Rod, just some heavy fucking bass. That would have ruled, dude. Actually, you know what? I take it back. Zack Snyder's the man, bro. Yo, pussies. Like, let's go.
Tay, end the video right now. Yeah. End the video right now.
No, keep going.
We're keeping on this, Jordan.
Yeah. I like it. It could have been better, but it also could have been way worse. And it's a huge improvement over the original cut.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
I give it a 6 out of 10.
Do not give it a number score.
6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. Stop. 6 out of 10. 6 anchors out of 10.
You give it a fucking paragraph review. You give out your thoughts, and then people will take that as is.
6 out of 10.
We're through. We're not Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm fighting them. 6 out of 10.
That seems reasonable. I I don't do
What
number
do you
scores
got?
either. I don't do number
Yeah.
scores. I just say how it is. But if there's a
Yeah.
score, I agree. 6.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nailed
I
it.
think I could also agree 6 out of 10. All right, end the video. Oh wait. Let me do the indie bits, guys. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this mess of a podcast.
That was a
Much
great
like the 2017 version. Well, I kind of took it off rails when I started calling everyone a pussy, but
Yeah,
Release the
maybe don't
drunken
do
cut.
that.
Release
Maybe
the
blip that
drunken
out.
cut.
just, yeah. Tay actually edited the podcast. That'd be great if he could go back in and just go beep beep. Beep. That'd be hilarious.
Add 2 more hours of footage.
Guys, thank you so much for making it to the end of the podcast. We do appreciate it. If you guys want more of this nonsense and some whack opinions from some wackadoo guys, and you want more of this Schneider cut, give us a follow on here. I mean, give us a sub, and then Bryan, where can they find you at?
You can find me at Twitter at BryanOrchija and Twitch at BryanBrowny.
And Tay, where can they find you at?
Twitter.com/Tay-Infinite. I forget every single time.
Every
but
single
the link
time.
is in the bio.
I'm about to do
Yeah.
your ending bit, Tay. I'll tell you, you can find me at Twitter at BryanOrchija, and you can find Tay at _Tay-Infinite.
Woo! There we go, baby. And guys, if you want to find me, you want to at me for calling everyone pussy on here. I gotta stop saying it.
Stop
I'm
it.
gonna
What's
get
wrong with
so
him, man?
You're going to be the death of us all.
I 100% will. Look at me. I'm already white. It's already putting one down the coffin already. Guys, if you want to find me, you can find me at Twitter at cyber_calamity. And you want to follow me on Twitch, you can follow me at CyberCalamity. Guys, thank you so much for making it to the end. And we'll see you guys next week for a week of the podcast.